All right, quick review today, January 7th, 2026. I blew up again, but for some reason I'm not that upset that I blew up because I know exactly why I blew up. And um, I didn't trade. I was down like $200 because I put on a stupid trade earlier, and but then I didn't trade till the open, and when we got the open, I knew my levels pretty well, and I believe I did trade. Um, I did scalp this range here. I was pretty good at recognizing when we were when we were taking out the top of the range, and then we got this push up here into the teens. I didn't scalp this perfectly, and I kind of hesitated here and didn't join the trend here. And the same thing sort of happened here. But I was pretty good at, oh, this is a 5 second. I was pretty good at, this flush here. Again, it's always about fading volume. So I faded here. Um, Here it did trap. And I think in one of these I actually joined the trap. Um, Faded here. And then the easy part was here. So when we get into a consolidation that has a clear VPOC, like a point of control, and has like pretty defined levels, bottom of the range, below 50 and the mid 40s, 50, top of the range in the 70s. I changed a little bit here a couple of times, but it was pretty much well defined. And when that happens, then the order flow has a rhythm to it. And the dynamics in the tape are very easy to read. And every time we get to the top of the range, we see the exhaustion. It's easy to fade and so forth. Same to the bottom. Um, Here, it started to compress and um, I was actually ready. I kind of stopped scalping here because it was compressing. I knew that when the next pop or flush was likely to break the range for some reason, but I wasn't prepared because I completely forgot that we had data coming out at 10 a.m. and then this happened, and then it it killed me and it put me off. But then I kind of found the rhythm again and I made it all back until, and I was okay until this happened. And this was the China. I need a squawk service because, this flush happened and my news, sources and Twitter didn't actually show the news. Almost like, I don't know, 20 seconds, maybe even half a minute went by. So I was, scrambling trying to find to see if this was news or not. And but in any event, um, it did throw me off. I did buy then the dip here. Actually, no, I hesitated. I have all this on tape, but I'm not gonna play the tape. But I hesitated, and there was a pretty easy bottom here to catch. And I ended up getting in late, so then I only captured a little bit of this, and then it chops around, and then um, and then here I fight this grind up, and that's where I gave back everything that I made, and then and lost everything. And so, what's the lesson here? Because I don't want to make this video too long. The lesson is that if we have a defined range, then it's scalpable because there is a rhythm to the order flow. And because the tape is easier to read, and because the dynamics on the tape, every time it reaches key levels, it's just kind of, if you know how to read it, it's easier to read. But once we break out of consolidation and then we're trending, you the important thing is recognizing that that's happening. So here we could still say that we were sort of like, okay, we revert here to the mean, and then we're trading around that VPOC. But then after this happens, the tape changes completely. It turns into a grind. So that's what killed me. Trying to scalp, I mean, here scalp was working. Here scalping was not working. Or trying to short pops and buy dips, and you just killed. So that was bad. That's what happened. So it's about recognizing, not being stuck in, recognize when things change, and then, you know, take your foot off the throttle and reassess and figure out what's going on. If I had done that, I was still alive here. I still had some, but then here I made a mistake, and I was like, I tried to scalp here, this range was really tight, and that was kind of stupid. And then I knew this was going to break out, and I was in it, and I took and then I can't remember why. I saw something in the tape that said, okay, let me just short here. And then I was short when this thing popped, and that's what killed me. Um, but when you have something that's like, breaking out of a trend, out of a range, and then consolidating up here outside of a range that I just broke, then you know that you need to switch to breakout mode, because this is what happened. Same thing as it happened yesterday on NQ and ES, towards the close. So, anyways, um, the other lesson here is that before I even got home, I wrote something on Discord talking about how I felt the tape was feeling yesterday, and, well, before the open today, and it was confirmed that this was the case. We have basically a market that's melting up. It's shrugging off all bad news. Literally, it's shrugging off. I mean, this was the China news. It's like a recycled news that has happened the last. It's happened 3 or 4 times where they say, "Oh, China is, whatever, not buying Nvidia chips," or something like that. It's not even new. I've heard this a few times already. Every time it happens, the market tanks, and then it tanks into like a. I saw a tweet from SMB, and they said exactly the same thing that I already knew. It gets soaked up, and then back up it goes, and it keeps grinding higher. We're in a regime right now that it's just basically they're just propping the bid. And if you know that, then um you can't overreact to these flushes. You need to buy the dips, knowing that whoever it is manipulating this shit, they are buying the dips. They're always soaking all these dips and all these flushes. They're soaking it, and then it goes higher. So if you know that, you kind of have to be, you can't then complain that these things take you by surprise. They shouldn't be taking you by surprise, and you should know what to do with them. So that's, the other mistake I made. If we go back here to a 1 minute, wow, this thing, okay, now, what time is it? It's okay, we're just closing now. So this thing, okay, topped up here, tested here 26, and now it's back down again. This is telling. Tomorrow's Thursday. Let's see what happens. But this was the action on the way up, and you know, you should have known that, and also you should have, again. You did well when it was here. You lost when we got the 10 a.m. Data. But then you recovered again because we had range in these candles and it was scalpable. But then you need to recognize when this shit happens. This is not scalpable anymore. This is hell, right? This cannot be traded the way you were trading it in here. So you need to lay off. You need to sit on your hands and stop trading. And especially if you're up, like if you hadn't hit, you didn't hit daily target, but you were up close to it. So why give it all back? Anyways, that's my review today.